Hi friends, welcome back. I'm going to do something, I think it's fun, something I tried here the other day. I've been looking at a lot of old black and white photos. If you recall, I think it might have been my last video, I started a painting using an old reference photo of my father-in-law from like 1920. And I sketched it in burnt sienna, and I played with it one time. I haven't really messed with it. I'll show you kind of where it is. I did start introducing some color, but it's obviously got a long way to go. That's where it is. Husband told me the wheels are too short, so. So I took a photo the other day of my husband as a boy and another boy, and they had caught fish. And what I'm trying to do, I'm using a black and white photo today, and what I'm trying to do is to make it feel almost like an old photo. I'm using primarily brown and orange, and with this one I'll show you where I'm nowhere near done, but I have introduced some blues, but I'm trying to, maybe I'll back you up a little bit. I got you pretty close. You can see a little bit better. This is where it is. It's a 10 by 10, but I'm going to finish all that lower half. I want the background to be just suggested and kind of washed in. They've got their fish, and that's one go about. I just worked on that one time. But I like the feel of it. I think it's kind of a cool idea. So I kind of want people, again, when they see it, to look at it and it give you that feel, you know, of an old sepia photo. I guess that's. All right, so what we're going to work on today is I have this old photo of my dad with a big catch of fish, and I've cropped it. His feet, I cut his feet off on purpose because I cropped it for this 8 by 10. Because I may paint it again, I may paint his whole body. I have one of those long skinny canvases. I was kind of thinking about painting him on that, but it's not the right proportions either. So we're going to try it on here. Again, what I've done over here is I mixed up some orange, and I put some brown out. I'm not even sure what it is. It's an old tube of maybe umber. I think what we'll do though is I want to just see if we can get it sketched on there first. Maybe we'll do my usual, maybe blue and brown, or transparent red oxide, and maybe that's what we'll sketch with. So, whoops, one thing I did not get out is my solvent. I sometimes use Gamblin solvent-free liquid. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on a sec. And we may, use some white as we need to too. But this is mostly the sketch, though I'm liking that 10 by 10, and I don't know how far I'll go with it once I get the background in. And Charlie Hunter is an artist that I follow, if you don't know who he is. He has great drawing skills. A lot of his paintings tend to look like, I always say, like sepia photos. Check him out, Charlie Hunter. Does a lot of architecture and uses scrapers and all kinds of things. But a lot of his finished paintings, he uses the water mixable oils like I do, but I think he puts water in them, which I generally don't. All right, we're going to try to just sketch on with this brush, try to see where things land on my photos. I can transfer them over. So, top of his head is fairly close. So we're dealing with, a little face. Now, I don't think I want to exactly center him, so we might move him over there. So I'm going to start and work my way down, I think. think he's fishing in the ocean, my husband said, based on the fish that he's got here, and he looks very happy. My dad liked to fish too, like my husband. So I don't want to get too much paint on here. I want it mostly to come from my brown and my orange. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see where his hands are. The bottom of his hands are hitting about halfway. So his hand, you know, just try to get proportions right, you know. But I think it's just kind of an interesting concept, you know. And then we'll put some of the background in that we see. The one of my husband and his friend, they were standing in front of their home at the time, and I don't want that as the background, so I'm thinking I'm going to suggest trees and maybe even a pond, I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm running him off with no shoes, so let's check again. The bottom of his jacket. See, I want to bring that down. My dad was not a tall man. I don't want him to feel like he's got real long legs. He did not. I even thought about if this came out good. My brother's got a birthday in November. Maybe this would be kind of a cool gift for him. So I'm just adjusting and adjusting, you know. Just not a lot of paint. The string comes out of his hand and comes down. I like that. Go all the way up to his hand there. See, behind him is some kind of a pier, and he's standing on like a dock that we don't want to go right off the corner, so you know, wouldn't want that line to take you right into the corner, take you off. Okay, if that's his hand, that's his elbow. And you could do this, you know, with pencil before you, whatever, you know. I may be even bringing his head down. He's got a shadow under his chin. And we're going to be bringing him down, I can tell, which is good. But that's approximately his eyes. He's got this big shadow on his forehead under his hat. Yeah, I really like the one I started the other day of my husband and his friend. Um, Remember, maybe you don't, but back in the day, people used to take old black and white photos and they would color them. And they had kind of a pastel-y, glazed kind of look to them. Colorize them, I guess they called it, or something, I don't know. I should be out painting tonight on the street. It's really pretty out, and there's concerts up in town tonight. I almost went up to town. Some kind of pole back here, and then there's the actual distant now we'll I'm sure we'll be adjusting the face over and over and over and over. You know, will it end up looking like my dad in the end? Maybe. I mean, this head is this big, so that makes it harder. But maybe I'll paint it bigger later on and make it look more like him, right? So I'm just using just my brown and kind of going after the darks that I see, the darkest darks. And this is an awful big brush. We may have to, you know, get a smaller brush out. And the orange, we can shift it more toward yellow or more toward red. It looks like the sun's pretty much hitting him right in the face. You know, one side's a little, well, maybe not. I was going to say one side's a little darker, but I'm not so sure. We'll see how far we get, you know. So I'm getting into some white, you know. I spent a long time the other day messing with the little faces on the other one, so, you know, I don't know how far again we'll get. And I'm setting down so I can get closer to it tonight. I need to buy some new brushes. I see these people working with these beautiful little liner brushes, and all my little tiny brushes are crappy. I don't take good care of them. I've got a little tiny brush in my hand. It's a little better than most, so let's get back into the brown and we'll play around with that. I don't know how interesting this will be to you. Okay, I'm looking at the space above like his glasses and his hat to see that shadow, and it looks like it goes up further. And I absolutely could just move on and come back for the face, but I feel like playing with the face a little bit. I have no idea what year this was. His eyes just kind of look squinty from the sun. Like I said, my dad was a little guy. He was quite the character. He never forgot a joke. People liked him. He could tell jokes for hours on end. Smoked a pipe and smoked cigars, and he would bowl. He was a bowler, and he would bowl with a pipe hanging out of his mouth, which wasn't good for you, but I remember that pipe being disgusting. You know how it is. I'd watch him clean it out and shake it out. But now I have one of them because, things become endearing to you when they pass away. So I'm just shifting around. I got into a little more orange. And he's got, under his nose, there's a shadow. I say he's smiling really big. He looks happy. And again, if it doesn't look like him, it's okay. I'm gonna get into some white and just a little yellow. Like I said, and with that other one I showed you, I was getting into some blue even, but I want it all to feel like washes, kind of, pastel-y. We'll get back into our brown. So it's kind of easy. I mean, the colors I'm using are very limited. We went to the fair yesterday. We mostly like to go for the animals. I got a lot of good animal photos. Might be able to use some of them next year for our show. Pigs. I love pigs. I got pigs and sheep and goats. The rabbits are so freaking cute. We see a lot of rabbits, but of course they're all wild, and man, it makes you want to pet them. Some are enormous. They're like dogs. They're just huge. And then there's a real furry, what are they, Angora rabbits or something? Oh, so cute. We'll probably work on the face a while, and then we'll kind of work our way down. But again, we're in orange and white and brown, and for now that's all we're using. Later on we may want to go in and put more color in. There's no rules. let's move on. We'll go back to our brush that's a little bit bigger, quite a bit bigger really, right? All right, so I'm trying to look at value really is what I'm doing more than anything. Just adjust them back and forth, and lighter up here. There's some kind of little insignia on the cap. But isn't this fun? I mean, it's just fun to do something different. All right. The collar goes behind his neck. Yeah, I have this photo. I wish I knew. I don't think it's dated on the back. I'll have to look. I have, I'm old, telling my age, I don't care. I was born in 1953, and my dad played softball. Another thing he did, he golfed, he bowled. Anyway, I have a jacket, a softball jacket from 1953. And again, because he was a little guy, the thing fits me. He worked for Ford Motor Company. Having all these daddy memories, right? But the jacket's not in great shape. The lining's gone, but I'm really happy to have it. I kept that, and I kept one of my mom's bowling shirts. She bowled too. The lightest lights I'm getting are basically yellow and white. I needed to get a little darker under his chin. I don't know if you watch Eric or you follow Eric Rhodes on Facebook, but he has live demos pretty much every day at noon, which is really nice. I think that started during the virus, and he still does it. And on Fridays, he's been doing a critique kind of session. He does about 6 paintings, and you can send him your painting. Doesn't mean he'll get to it, but pretty interesting. He has I don't know what he's using actually, but online he makes adjustments to them and suggestions, and it's kind of interesting. Critiques are nice, I think, really. My group, the one we critique every time we paint pretty much, the other one we critique monthly. And you don't always see stuff, you don't always see your own work, so critiques are great. And even if you don't choose to have your own work done, I think it's always interesting to, see what people have to say about other people's work too. All right, the cups here. Yeah, I would like it if in the end, maybe from across the room, you know, someone saw that and thought, oh, that's a photograph, till they walk up to it maybe. That's kind of what I'm shooting for, you know, like an old photo. I ordered a couple frames for, like I said, that's a 10 by 10. I may paint this on a bigger one, we'll see. I'll tell you, even though it's early and I'm probably not supposed to, we're going to have we do that yearly show with my one group, and next year the theme is, I don't remember the title, it's quite the title, but it's basically animals and fish and birds. I have fish here, see? So I'm thinking like that one I'm working on of my husband and his friend. That would work for the theme, so maybe, you know, maybe. Maybe just pick along and look. Like I said, I'm looking at values. I don't know how well you can see. I have the cheeks much lighter. He's got little puffy cheeks. Not puffy. I don't know. I'll show it to you later. This still looks darker than I have it. You know, in the end, would people know it was my dad? I don't know. Probably not working this small. Put that dark into his hand. Looks like he's got gloves stuck in his pocket. I don't know if I'll be able to suggest them as small or if it's even necessary, but I think it's cute. It looks like he's smiling. Oops, wake up. We're jumping around. And again, because there isn't much color, we're mostly thinking value. You know, like with any painting, we can come back and introduce the highlights later, you know. And it didn't tone because I didn't want to fight that color in this process. Ooh, that is really too saturated. you know, brown's the darkest. Then if you want to go in between, you know, we'll mix some of the brown in with the orange. I paint out on Tuesdays. You know, I've mentioned that with a group, and this past Tuesday they went to a place I decided not to go. I'll tell you the main reason, well, it was hot, really hot, but I was told it was, it'd recently been sold to some conservatorship or something. Anyway, it supposedly was not maintained really well yet, and they had a real problem with ticks. I don't know, you know, it just kind of scared me off. I just didn't want to deal with it. And one girl said she got 3 ticks, and oh, I just didn't want to. I did buy from Amazon a tick remover. You get a set of 3. Let's see if I got it to show you. I probably can't grab it. Here it is, I got it. There were 3 sizes. It's a tick remover. I put it in my bag, but you loop it around the tick and spin it, I think, and it pulls the tick out. But there were 3 of them in there. I gave one to my husband to take fishing, and I put one in my painting bag, and we put one in the kitchen drawer. So, hate those things. Like anybody likes them, right? I worry about him probably more than most. Mike hunts in the spring, turkey hunts, and he fishes, and he just doesn't. And I think they like some people better than others too. He just doesn't seem to have much of a problem with them, whereas they seem to like me. So I just talked myself out of going. I'm wimped out. You know, like, let's go in with this little brush, like with something much lighter. Like I see a lighter rim across the top of the pocket. And there. You know, this stuff is little tiny, tiny detail that you really would probably do later. Yeah, I think this is probably burnt umber that I'm using. It's not something that's on my palette. I thought it would work well for this. I'm going to have to order some more. I keep doing this. I don't have much. Now his pants feel lighter yet. They're probably like, I don't know, did they call them khakis back then? I don't know. So let's get lighter. I'm just working straight paint. I could put a little solvent in there and help it move a little. Maybe we will. No, I've just been working with nothing but paint up to now. Paint is made to be used out of the tube. You know, the consistency I think is pretty nice. It just depends on how you like to work. Now, he could be in blue jeans if I wanted him to be. I don't know that people were big blue jean wearers back. How old would he be here if I had to guess? People looked older back then, I thought. Say he was 40. I don't think he's that old here. God, I'd have to think about this, what year this might have been. I would guess this is in the 50s or the 60s, probably. You know, now people wear jeans all the time to every place, but back then men didn't so much. He died young. He was 69 when he died. My mom was only 72. So I lost them both, you know, so young. You never dream that'll happen. You just kind of, that's what I said, you kind of take them for granted when they're here. I regret not talking to them more about their lives and their life, and, you know. They say you kind of take them for granted. Talk to your family about your memories. The fish are kind of all through here, so I'm just kind of putting some color down here. And you know, I don't want this to be, I want it to be impressionistic like I paint, even though there's not a lot of color. You know, I still want it to. Oh, maybe I ought to try to do his hands first. Oof. Teeny tiny hands. We might want the other little brush, you know, so it's just so tiny. Years ago, I went to a funeral of my great nephew. Had passed away, a little boy, just the saddest thing. Anyway, in Texas with my mother, and it was my brother's grandson. And my uncle was there, my dad's brother, and Dad had been gone several years at that point. But my Uncle Bobby sat down next to me. And I had not spent a lot of time with him in my life, but I noticed his hands look like my dad's. You know, they were brothers. It was like, oh my gosh, your hands look like Dad's. I don't know what those look like at this point. They just look like big mitts, don't they? You know, we're going to want to, without going crazy, I'm going to want to explain some things, you know. The values really are very subtle. You know, when we paint the background in, we'll do some adjustments. Like this is out a little far. All right, let's take the brown, and try to go, because that's our darkest dark. Try to put in the darker parts of the fish that we see. And, you know, if you wanted to get darker, I could mix some ultramarine in this and get it darker if I felt I needed darker darks. No rules. Huh, this fish is striped. Should ask my husband what that is. He would know. This one's got more of a typical fish tail, which is good. Explain more what we're looking at, right? So one, where are we at here? This is the guy in the middle, okay. And I don't know if they're all the same kind of fish. Look like a good day though, didn't it? Kind of put that line in so we know where we're going. This guy over here is pretty dark. Wow, can't even see what we've got going here. Just a jumbled mess. All right, now we'll come back in with our lighter color. Wherever I see light. Hard to make sense out of some of this. And there's really not any lights in these fish up here that I can see. Let's, I think I got just a touch of blue in now. We should be a little darker maybe. Do you know your fish? Do you know what these striped things are? Like I said, I think they're out of the ocean. It's fun, don't you think? All right, so let's get a little background in real quick. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to put a little tiny blue in that because I want that to recede. You know, even though there's really no colors there. See, I'm going to, because I want to, I'm going to take a little blue and white. And introduce a little blue into this. You know, make it more of a glaze kind of. Okay, the sky is obviously the lightest thing here. So, it's mostly white with just a little tinge of color. Which in the end, if it doesn't feel light enough, I mean, we can wipe it back. And we could put a tiny bit of blue in it. Let's try that. You know, we're not dealing with a lot of paint here, you know. Could put more on. I don't really know. Or we may want to come back and layer and layer and layer. We don't know what we're doing. We're just having fun. I was noticing this photo has kind of a check pattern. I said to my husband, it looks like a pattern of a screen. Why do you think that is? Well, it's because I took this photo of the photo, and I think the light coming in the window from the back put that light on the photo, you know what I mean? So it was how I shot it. It's not in the photo. So this guy's got a blue cast to it. Okay, so this comes over, and there's some legs coming down, and then there's kind of a pattern in the water. Hard to tell what's going on there. I think this went out. Okay, let's get this angle. Okay, that's not going to quite work, is it? Yeah, maybe. The lump on my canvas. Oh. Paint, I guess. I think we're just going to hold up on the background for now, and I'm just going to play around and introduce a few more lights where I see them. I can see one thing I kind of lost or something is that collar on the left. It went all the way up to here by his neck like that. Okay, I'm looking at the amount of forehead that it's showing. That's pretty close. Comes down a little over here. Zooming in on his face. Looks like some highlights in his glasses. We're about to call it for the evening. We got a, good start. But this is kind of the idea. We're gonna and I can see the glasses need to come into his nose. you know, face this tiny. It's just push and pull, back and forth, back and forth. One little tiny stroke changes it. I kind of zoomed on his in on his face a little bit. It's a little darker underneath his little cheeks. You know, hopefully in the end it will, I'd like it to feel like him, even if it's not that it matters particularly, but I'd kind of like it to feel like him. His ear is pretty dark. And so is the side of his face. That collar, it is higher than I've got it. Wow, it is much higher than I've got it. I'm gonna think about that. It's actually up here by his ear in the picture, but I can't pull it up that far, or I'd have to re-sketch everything, right? I'm not so sure. I'm not going to have to redo his hat, even, you know, pull it up higher. There's something on the top of his hat. And the hat, I can see, goes kind of up to a point almost. More like that. All right, I'll get off of here and I'll post this, and you can see, hopefully enjoy the beginning of this. But I think you get where I'm going with it. Yeah, his eyes are just squinted from the light. So, all right, I'm going to let you go for now. I'll get you in front of it so you can see it. Got myself sandwiched in here. Hold on. But see, little tiny face, right? But we've introduced some blue in the jacket. Whether in the end we'll like that, I don't know, I kind of do. So again, keep in mind the face is that big, about the size of my thumbnail, so teeny tiny. So all right, that's been about an hour. I've got a good start, you know, the drawing's there. I'm having the fun. All right, thanks for joining me. You have a nice night. Bye-bye.